And that's how I look at it. And like I said, this was my child. She was precious. Man, she loved, I mean, there wasn't nothing. I mean, there's nothing bad about Mackenzie. I mean, that kid did everything possibly she could. But when she went to bed that night, the people that were supposed to protect her didn't. And that's where my justice comes in.
Oh, thank you.
Is she didn't get that protection that you're supposed to do. And if everybody knows by now, you know, there was new details. My daughter was raped on top of being set on fire. And that makes it more stronger for me to fight for what I'm fighting for.
That does make you stronger.
But I can tell you one thing, for a mother, and I had to say that to be polite, and whatever you want to call him, live in, whatever, for them, they know the answer. They know what happened that night. They know what happened to Mackenzie. They know who raped my daughter. They know who set that fire. And if you notice, they're not here tonight. So, and that tells me everything I need. My question is not to them, because I know who killed my daughter.
Yep.
I don't know who raped her, but I know who killed her, who set the fire. But my question is the fire department, or the sheriff's office. They know, and they're not doing nothing about this. And what I want Mackenzie to be remembered by is all these kids you see here today, all these kids. You got to remember, there is somebody out there that did this to Mackenzie, and they're still out there. And that sheriff's department knows they're out there. So you got all these kids, like I said, and somebody can still do this. And it's sad that the people that we vote for and put into those seats that are supposed to protect and serve are not protected.
Yep.
And they're not serving the community. Because if they were serving the community, they'd be here tonight.
They're basically letting everybody know it's okay to do it.
Right.
They get away with it.
Right. So, if anybody heard also that one tape, I want to clear that up right now with everybody. Where that detective said the 3 sleeping cycles. Okay? There is no such law as they don't let a murderer go home and sleep for 3 days and then bring him in and question him.
No.
But then again, that tells you what kind of a sheriff's office we have.
Yep.
Anybody can sit there and tell somebody, we're going to let a murderer go home and sleep for 3 days and then bring him in and question him.
Yeah.
3 days, they could probably kill somebody else again or out of the country.
Right.
So that just tells me why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm investigating my daughter's murder, and why the sheriff's office is sitting over there wondering, what are we going to do now?
Yeah.
They're the ones that's afraid, not me.
Right.
I've stood up to them, so I'm not afraid of them. I want to see changes in this town.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things that we need to make changes is when we walk into those booths and we vote, we don't say, hey, I'm a Republican, he's only a Republican sheriff, so I'm going to go ahead and vote for him. Start doing your homework.
That stuff doesn't matter anymore.
Start doing your homework, because we need to start remembering who is out there protecting our children. I've watched already in 12 years 3 arsons that happened in courthouse, and they're already solved and gone. 3.
Yeah.
Done. My daughter's is the only unsolved child homicide in Fayette County.
Don't know why. Wonder.
But it shouldn't be unsolved.
Right.
This is something that should have been over 3 months after the fire. They had DNA. They had the people that was in the home, and they let them slide away. And the way I look at it, they've had 12 years of freedom.
Yep.
And I just had a conversation with a lawyer. You know, I keep hearing, well, we want the death penalty for this case. You know what? Screw the death penalty. Because first of all, I'm 48 years old. I know how old they are. Even if they got 50 years, they're going to be over in the hundreds when they die. So I'm not worried about the life. Because here's how I look at it. And I know you're a little different on this, but I don't believe in the death penalty with them. I don't. My daughter suffered that night.
Right.
I want them to suffer.
I think so too.
Death penalty is the easy way out.
That's what I say too.
What they did to my daughter that night by raping her and then setting her on fire, they need to every day sit in that jail cell, because I guarantee you, the people in there are not going to be happy with them when they come.
They don't like ones like that.
But like I said, I have worked a lot of hours on this. I've done a lot with this case. And the only thing that I keep asking myself is, they had this case 10 years before I took over it. When I finally said, I've had enough, I'm going to do it my way. I've done more in 1 year and brought more evidence than they have in 10 years. Now, if y'all remember, Vernon Stanford said he had one key thing to this homicide, and he wasn't going to share it with the public. Well, guess what? We already know, Vernon. She was raped.
Right.
It's over. That's your key. And here's what he told me. And everybody needs to hear this. He told me that they were waiting on the person to come in there and tell them they did this. That's what he said to me. And I can guarantee you one thing. Whoever did this is not going to go in that sheriff's office and tell them they did it.
Why would they now? After all this time?
So,
That's just stupid.
like I said, that I'm just telling you guys, this is what the sheriff's office is all about. And it's got to change. It has to change. I called them. I called Vernon 6 times yesterday, 5 times the day before. Left messages. Called the prosecutor. He was unavailable. Called Ryan McFarland, unavailable. Which y'all know he changed his answering machine now. It doesn't say he's still on vacation in November. So he's not on vacation. I've called BCI, and they completely shut me down. We all know why they shut me down, because I have the evidence that shows they didn't do their job. So, like I said, I'm going to keep fighting this. I just talked to another person, the officer that was there the night of the fire. I've got now that information. I've talked to Kentucky State Police and talked to that detective and got that information. So I'm still working on this. I'm still fighting it every day. Like I said, if I got to travel, I'll travel. I'm hoping they run. I would love to see the wanted poster. But like I said, this is about Mackenzie. And I can tell you right now, after everything I've done, my child did die a horrible death. And this county, I don't want to say the community, the county, doesn't care. They don't care. Yeah, elected. Yeah. They don't care. And I can tell you they don't care. The prosecutor, he's supposed to be for Mackenzie. That's his job. He's supposed to be for the family of Mackenzie. And now he shut me down. Won't talk to me.
Child, this would not be hurt.
No. And I've said that. And I've said the key thing. When I was in a meeting with all of them, the commissioners and all, I told them, why don't you go home, put your kids around the dinner table, and pick one of your kids that you cannot do without anymore. Because that's how my dinner table is. I have an empty chair at my dinner table, and it should be empty. And I'm not just blaming, like I said, the sheriff's office and all them. It goes back to Children's Services. They knew a lot of this was going on and didn't protect my kids. They didn't do it. They're famous for, let's mail out a letter and 7 days we'll come and visit you.
Yeah.
Give you the warning.
Yeah, give you a warning. But like I said, also I want to clear this up too. Not all of Mackenzie, like I've said this before, on that side of the fence family is bad. I've got one here, her aunt, cousin, but more an aunt. She's an aunt. But she's here, and this means a lot to her. I'm going to tell you guys right now, this means a lot to her. And like I told her tonight, we're going to get justice, whether, you know, those side want to help or not help. I can guarantee you 2 of them won't help.
Yeah.
Because they've had 12 years to come here and help. And we've all heard her stories. We've heard them plenty of times. And anybody that's waiting on her to tell her story you're not going to get that story. I'm going to tell you right now, she's not going to tell it. Because she can't remember all the other stories that she's already told. But I can guarantee you one thing. They know who was in that house that night. They know who raped my little girl that night. And they know who set that fire. Why they're not in jail, that's up. All we can do is ask the man up here that says it's an ongoing investigation. And it's a #1 priority, but he was in Colorado just a week ago. And he was the mentor of 28 sheriffs to teach them how to communicate with the community.
Wow.
So Vernon right now is all about show. And you got to think about this too. He is running for sheriff for all sheriffs of the United States. So if he wins that, he could care less about this case or Fayette County anymore. I guarantee him and Joyce Stanford will be in their vehicles living somewhere else.
Yeah.
So he ain't going to care. My job is to stop that from happening. Hey, how you doing, dog?
Sorry.
Oh, you're all right. We allow pets. Another thing, I want to thank everybody that's on my live feed right now, because this is big tonight. There's people in Florida, California, Texas, Georgia, Canada. When we get ready to do the fire truck, they're releasing balloons like almost, I think, there's 31 states right now releasing balloons for Mackenzie tonight. And then one country. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm about to hang a Canada flag on my pole, because those women up there in Canada, if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be this. I'm being serious. Them women up there are the ones that is making this happen. And I love it because Vernon can't stop it, because it's Canada. He can't stop it. He can call up there all he wants to, and they're going to say, who's Vernon? We don't care who Vernon is. So he can do that to BCI, and all them can fall in his pocket, but he can't win Canada. And them women up there they're awesome. They do trafficking, they do child abuse, they do everything. Their programs are so big. And they just got Mackenzie on NAMUS, which is all over the world. It's one of the biggest things. They got her now on there. iHeartRadio is going to do a broadcast of Mackenzie's story. So it's big. These women are great. I mean, they're awesome. And like I said, Florida, that's my hometown. And tonight there's a bunch of them down there releasing balloons for Mackenzie. Texas, Tennessee, California was on there, West Virginia. So it's big. It's not just our community, it's actually the world. I mean, Australia, they're releasing balloons down there for I got another thing I'm going to do on my live feed where all the countries and states have actually got a card that says Justice for Mackenzie, and they're holding it in front of their monument, whatever their monument is for that state. And I think there's already 48 now, and 7 countries that actually have the Justice for Mackenzie card, and they're holding it in front of their whatever represents their state and country. So it's big. I appreciate.
Unfortunately, the voices of Fayette County have not been loud enough, and I hate that, because there's enough of us that have rallied and supported Rick. It's just not big enough. We've got to get it outside the box, get it to other people's ears, because it's one of those weird cases that has so much. I spent one night here in my Jeep with my mouth open, and I said, Rick, you need to be an attorney. I could not believe the things that he could find out that anybody else could find out.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to be shady. Maybe a couple shadies, but but you know what I mean? Like
generosity.
Yes.
Yeah, your personality. Yeah.
I think that us doing
That's
these
a personality.
Rick trying to Rick was positive for 10 years. I remember being his advocate at my sister's house, and he was very positive and very quiet about what was going on and trusting everyone. And then when he lost his trust, this is the Rick you've got. And I think this is going to be the Rick that's going to get us there, because a father could only be so timid and so quiet for so long when he realizes that he's not being helped. And I understand that. Sometimes my mom said to do this to you. But sometimes he has a way of vocalizing things, but I don't know how I would feel. We all have to just support him no matter what he says and what he does, but getting this out there, maybe somebody will say, we've got to do something for this dude in Little Washington Courthouse, Ohio, and some retired attorney will say, hey, I have nothing to lose. I'll take you on, buddy. Let's do this. So it's not all about the finances. It's about the person who's willing to stand up and take the place of our mouths that we can't get anything fixed with.
And the thing of it is, like I keep saying, you know, just like the Mackenzie Memorial Fund, it's not about the money, but it takes money sometimes to move things too. And it's sad that it does that. Right. That you have to have money to get somebody to listen or whatever. But I can tell you, I mean, I've dumped a lot of money into this. I mean, the stuff that I collected and traveling to get it and knocking on doors and stuff, it costs. Yeah, I mean, it does cost. And getting them to make copies and USB drives and, I mean, all that stuff adds up, you know, but I'm trying to keep it all together. And like Chrissy said, you know, this is a hard thing. When she came that night, like I said, she didn't know I had what I had. She, you know, she heard it from my voice, but she never actually saw what everybody now has seen. And like I said, she couldn't believe it. And it's not the mistake people make is they're looking at it through the law's eyes. I guess you want to call it that. I'm looking through it as a father. And my eyes are different. I don't miss nothing.
Right.
I mean, I look for every single detail that you can figure out what went wrong. And, you know, why they keep talking to me, well, now they're not, but why they were keep talking to me, they knew I was taping them. I mean, they knew it. And to sit there and admit it, you know, but it's like, to me, they didn't care. They could care less if I heard it.
My biggest disappointment is being there the morning of the exhumation and there's still no answers. There's only been one time in Fayette County's history, it was in the early 1900s, that somebody's body was exhumed over murder. If they didn't think something happened to this little girl, why did they exhume her? Why don't we know anything? And that's a horrible thing to me to watch Rick's face as they pick up this little pink casket out of the ground, and just brings back all those memories. And there's nothing. We have nothing came from that. A 2-hour autopsy.
The outer part, you know, the exterior part of her. Well, we all heard the coroner say they washed her the night that they brought her in there. So you weren't going to find nothing there. So to me, I don't know why they... Honestly, I have no clue what they did, because everything that was asked for them to do, they didn't do. They didn't do it. And that's why probably the sheriff made that mistake, because he won't answer my phone call, so I had my wife call. And he answered her phone because he didn't know the number. And y'all heard it. Well, I don't think there was anything there. It was inconclusive.
Don't freak out if Rick calls you from a random number. He's had 35 of them in my phone. So. And I know why he does it. I'm like, who is it? It's your phone. They won't answer, he'll get a new phone.
I keep tapping my phone. But, like I said, the main thing is us. We're the voice. We are. We're the ones that speak, and we got to get louder. We got to get louder. My problem I'm having right now is, you heard where they were talking about bringing these detectives in from Columbus and BCI and all that. The problem is, they bring them in and they go and talk to Vernon.
Yeah.
They don't come and talk to me. Mm-hmm. They go to talk to Vernon. And then Vernon tells them what they want to hear, and then it's like, well, you don't have enough. When you get enough, let us know. And they leave. Right. But if they came to my house, let me put it this way. If I can convince 1 million people in this world who did it, how are you going to tell me they can't convince 12?
Right.
They only got 12 people to convince. And the evidence I got, everybody has seen. I made 1 million people believe and understand what happened to my daughter, what went wrong, and who's behind it. How can they not? They only got 12 people. That's it. Because, like I told the prosecutor, that's probably why he don't talk to me anymore. I will take the case and I'll walk in there and do it for you. If that's what it has to take. The fire marshal, I do not blame them. What happened was, when BCI first came down and they took this case, and the lady that was investigating it had a reason that she had to retire. The mistake BCI was, they didn't give it to another person, they just went ahead and sent it back to Fayette County. The thing of it is, when BCI was investigating it, they started finding stuff that I'm finding. The same thing. Stuff was missing. Stuff wasn't where it was supposed to be. Yeah. I mean, just like the sheriff, you know, There's a guy approached me in Walmart, and I'm hoping he watches my live feed every day. That swore up and down he babysitted my kid every day. And I kept telling the man in Walmart, no, you didn't. I know you. You watch my kid, I guarantee you I know you. And he knew me by Rick. And everybody here, that's another name.
Yeah.
I keep getting everybody on my live feed, who's Rick? All right.
I don't know you as Donald, so I don't know.
But he knew me by that name, and for somebody to know me by that name, I would know you.
Yeah.
And they went there, they got the video of the guy, everything. They lost it. Now he's blaming Detective Brown because he's dead, that he had it in his car or at his house, and they don't know what happened to it. And the thing of it is, this could have been the guy that did what happened to Mackenzie that night. I don't know. The other thing I want everybody to know, and I think everybody should know this, in 12 years, they've had DNA. They lost it for 6 years. They found it. Well, it was never really lost. They just never asked about it. In that 12 years, they've only ran 3 people. I was one of them. And I was cleared in 2009. So why are you running my DNA in 2012? When I was cleared by 2 federal agencies, ATF and the U.S. Fire Marshals cleared me. So 3 DNA in 12 years. And the other 2, I know who those DNAs are because BCI messed up and accidentally put their files in my files. And I can tell you right now, it's not the one that lived in the house. It's not the one that failed the lie detector test. It's not the other ones that they ran in 12 years. 3 DNA have been checked in 12 years. And the thing of it is, everybody heard the coroner. He said, as soon as that DNA hits, that's the person. If there is no other buddy, that's the person. So why is Fayette County Sheriff's Office not sending DNA? And I can tell you why. If y'all heard the coroner, he said it. They don't want to pay. They didn't even want to pay to send her to the coroner in Montgomery County and have the exhuming done. Because they knew they could go, nothing against you guys, but they took her to the fire station, did it there, got her back in the ground.
2 hours.
Vernon collected the samples, and supposedly he sent them to BCI.
He should have been the last one to touch them.
And they were sent to BCI because it was free. If they would have sent her to Montgomery County where they did the first autopsy and everything, it was going to cost them, you all ready for this? Only $1,500. My daughter was not worth $1,500.
But there's $10,000 reward.
But yeah, they can take. Well, they can give me that $10,000, and then I can go and pay the people to do the correct thing.
That's ridiculous.
But it was money. They weren't gonna. But listen to this.
They're not going to spend the money.
Bernie can go to Nevada and shake President Trump's hand. He could go to Colorado just last week for a week, and we're paying for that. But he can't pay to send my daughter to the proper authorities to have the things done that should have been done. So remember that. $1,500, but I guarantee you his trip to Colorado costs more than $1,500. So, like I said, I appreciate everybody being here. This is big. This is. I mean, it touches my heart to see everybody here, and it really touches my heart to see that big white truck.
Amen.
Because that's Mackenzie right there, you guys. That was the first truck. As a matter of fact, I think that's the truck, ain't it? That was on the scene.
In the picture.
First.
That's in the picture, ain't it?
But there it is. And you see what it says right there on that truck? Dedicate to protecting life. And you notice how life is first, then property.
Right.
That has always been a fireman. But y'all remember who was a 12-year fireman
Yep.
and ran from my daughter. So remember that. But that right there is Mackenzie. Most people get bagpipe people, whatever they're called.
I'm a bagpiper. I'll play next year. I'm not doing that.
But I called Jeffersonville. I asked them if they could bring their truck, Alan, and they jumped right on it. And the truck's here. And that's what represents Mackenzie. So, Alan, if you want to go ahead and get set up.
cold.
I know. That's all right.
We're all right.
We'll just let him go.
Should let him chew the window.
Yeah, I'm
I want you
here.
from over there.
Alan, when I give you a thumbs up, can you see me?
He can't hear you.
Let me get in.
I know, man.
Okay, everybody rally together. We're going to do this together. Everybody can do it, okay?
Just lost the balloon.
I'm gonna do it from over here.
Hey, ask him if everybody's ready on there, and tell them to give me thumbs up when they're.
There it is.
I told you. Got close on my pocket.
Well, we're good. Yeah. All right, we're ready.
Hey, did they give thumbs up on there?
Huh?
Did they give thumbs up on there?
Yeah, everybody give thumbs up when you're ready. Hearts. Does that count? Hearts. Yeah.
That means it's hair dye. Where's my phone? Sit. Oh my god.
Alright, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out here tonight. And like I said, watch my live feed. It's going to get good. Pretty much we got the murder part taken care of. Now it's the justice part, and it's the making changes. And that's, I guarantee that's what Mackenzie will want, is the changes. And we're the only ones that can do it. And it's all over the world. So, like I said this before, that's what got me in trouble. Here we come. This is Mackenzie's Army, and we're going to take you down. And so I thank everybody that came out here tonight. I really do. I know she does. And it's going to happen. I can guarantee it by 2018. Whatever it takes me to do, it's going to happen. And I thank Jeffersonville Fire Department for putting the truck. I know the kids love that. So let's get it. So thanks to everybody for coming. And like I said, my live feeds will keep going. I might be up there tonight.
You gave a little voice back there, Chief.
Well, I've done it before when we came from when I went to the scene. And all these people were still watching. I said, let's go, Sean. Let's go up in the room, man. They're ready. So I decided, like I said, I appreciate it. I love everybody, man. I love everybody that came. I love all these kids. This is what matters right here. These are our future. It's time to kick the old boys out. Whatever they call them.
Good old boys.
Good old boys. Yeah, there you go. It's time for them to go. we got the county. I guess the city's got the other part now.
Good luck.
City council's up there tearing up the city, so it's time, man. I think people are ready for changing, and that's what matters. We're ready for changes, and we're the ones. We're the ones that vote. So that's all I can say is when you go in there to vote, don't vote for me. I won't be running for sheriff. But
We'll write you in. We'll write you in. Write in votes.
but I appreciate you guys. I do. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I really do. I know she's enjoying this, and I know there's going to be a hog roast June
9th, yeah.
And then there's going to be
There's that dinner in Greenfield.
Chicken noodle dinner at Greenfield Eagles.
Eagles, yeah.
In Greenfield for Mackenzie, July the 7th. And then May 19th is the picnic in the park. Bring fishing poles and stuff. Kids can go fishing and stuff. Bring covered dishes. Yeah, I will. Okay. And anybody wants to order the Mackenzie Army shirts, I think that's with Sean and Sarah. Anybody wants to order those Mackenzie Army shirts for the picnic, she's got the order forms. So, like I said, I thank everybody, guys. I really do. I know Mackenzie does. And I'm not going to quit on nobody. I would do this for anybody else. And anybody needs anything?
Thank you.